Welcome to the Simple Doesn't Mean Easy podcast. We are here every Monday and Friday working at simplifying things in our lives one day at a time, one simple step at a time. I'm your host, Michelle Visser, and today we're talking about what to do when your husband might not be on board with all the many things we talk about here on the show. If your husband isn't really on board with caring about the quality of the food that's on the family table, if he really isn't on board about the toxic ingredients in the cleaners and other things in our home, um, my thoughts on that, because I will tell you right up front, Bill and I are most of the time not on the exact same page with a lot of these things. So I think it'll be a good talk, and I have a lot of encouragement for you. By the way, you might have noticed that I mentioned we are here Mondays and Fridays. It's back, guys. 6 months later than I told you it would be. Well, maybe not quite that much later, but we're going to bring back the Friday episode. I'm excited about it because it is our 5-minute, quick, down and dirty little episode where we connect at the end of the week, and I'm going to be sharing with you my Friday favorites. So it's just my thoughts on one simple thing, whether it's an ingredient or a gardening tool or something I'm using in my home, just one simple thing that has made a difference. And I hope you find it encouraging. I'm looking forward to it. And there will be 0 ads. We're going to, like I said, keep it really quick and simple. And that will be every Friday. And I'm also going to be sending out a small video, not like if you're watching this right now on YouTube, but an actual video over on YouTube, just what they call a short, that explains more or shows me using it or whatever the case might be. So if you're catching the Friday episode here on YouTube, you're just going to see me and my microphone chatting as we usually do. But there will also be an email that goes out with the exact same topic of whatever it is we're chatting about for those 5 minutes, showing you more of a hands-on kind of thing, if that makes sense. And some more details and links or discounts if I have them or whatever the case in that Friday email. So if you want to go sign up for that, go to solelyrested.com/podcast and you can get on my list. So you'll get those emails. And I will always include a link to the Monday one as well. So I'm not sure yet when that email will actually go out. I haven't figured out the logistics, and maybe it'll be slightly different every week. But once a week, I will send out an email with a link to both of our episodes for the week and the extra information. Hope that makes sense. But first, I want to tell you about something I just stocked up on. I absolutely love this salt so much that when I buy it in the 25-pound bag. Because first of all, guys, salt can never go bad. It's something I could never grow myself. And when you buy it in bulk, the pricing per unit is so much better. And it's really the best salt you can buy. It's the best out there. Here's the thing though, if you're feeding any picky eaters in your house, it is a surefire, super easy way to add nutrients to everything they're eating. I'm talking about Redmond Real Salt. It is mined from an underground mine that has not been touched by pollution, and it literally has over 60 minerals in the salt. So why on earth would you not want to use a salt that's adding extra nutrients with every bite? On top of that, it's delicious. Go to solelyrested.com/salt and I link there other things I love as well, not just my maybe crazy lady 25-pound bag of salt, but I love so many seasonings. I can't imagine not having these seasonings in my pantry. I love their electrolytes, and I really always have to have their popcorn salt on hand. Go to solelyrested.com/salt, check out my favorites, and make sure you grab my savings discount code there. So right off the bat, I want to say kudos to the guys. I think this whole idea of eating healthier, being concerned about the products in our home, it really does lend itself easier, I feel like, to us ladies. It's something that in general we care about more than the guys. And I've seen a shift over the past few years among men that I know personally, with Bill himself, a little bit even with my son-in-laws. Um, and even in my inbox, my followers, I see more gentlemen coming into my inbox talking about a blog post or a video they caught on Instagram or a video they saw on YouTube, and commenting about their thoughts and how they found it encouraging. Okay, let me just actually read to you this one. This was in my inbox this week, and this is actually what inspired me that, you know what, I want to talk more this week about guys and this topic in general of just living healthier and what we can do if the guys aren't quite on the same page with us. So I think that is a very common theme. I know a lot of you have told me you struggle with that. And my answer's always been, me too. I understand. I'm with you. But I've seen some changes over the past few years, and I want to encourage you. So here's the email that I got. Dear Michelle, you have, I should tell you, by the way, it's from Russell M. So it's not my typical lady telling me she's using fresh flour. It's a guy. Dear Michelle, you have given inspiration and renewed hope because you are new to this, because we, sorry, are new to this world of making better choices and healthy changes to our lives and lifestyles. And that includes a truly strong desire to grind my own grain for fresh flour. Kudos to Russell. I actually, in person, have a friend named Jim who I'm pretty sure entered the last giveaway of a grain mill that I just wrapped up every single day. And I'm pretty sure he would have entered it twice every day if he could, because he really wants a grain mill. So Jim and Russell, I know for sure, at least two guys who very much want these grain mills in their lives. So back to Russell's note. Let's see. We are always buying grass-fed and finished products and pasture-raised products. Good for you. Great place to start. We're going to talk more about that later. And we have a desire to get fresh flour and grind our own, but I had no idea. I had no idea how to go about it until I saw you on Instagram, and that was my breakthrough. And then getting your recipes and your links to the resources are also helpful in learning and planning for a little later down the road once we're settled and turning the page of a new chapter of life and adding fresh flour to it. Thank you, and God bless, Russell M. So what he was referring to, by the way, if you want all those resources, all those recipes, go to soullyrested.com/flour, FLOUR, and you can get into that series of emails that Russell was talking about. But so I read that from Russell and I thought, I always picture my listener as someone like myself or like one of my daughters. Like, I don't picture my listener usually being a guy, unless I'm talking about maple syrup, because I will say in my maple syrup world, I would say it's probably about eight, eight to two, 80% of my followers are male in the maple syrup realm. And that kind of makes sense because they're the ones that really like tapping the trees and being out in the sugar bush more so than the women. Sorry if I offended anybody. That's just what I see in my audience. I mean, I love being out in the sugar bush. So no offense meant in any way, shape, or form. Um, anyway, I feel like I just totally lost my train of thought. So I'm going to look back at my notes. So Bill, that's what I wanted to tell you. Some of the changes I have seen. A few months ago, he was getting something out of the fridge and he was disappointed in the quality of the butter. And he referenced the butter that I had been getting for probably 6 months, 9 months. It had been real butter. I mean, all butter is real, I guess, but it was high quality organic from raw milk, great butter. And he was bemoaning the fact that it was store-bought butter in the fridge. And he said, is it better to have the other? Like, it's just a healthier option, right? Like, can we always have the better butter? And it was everything. It took everything in me. I had a daughter in the kitchen at the time, and it took everything in me to not turn to her and kind of squeal and jump up and down and run and hug her because, her and I have been silently in the background for years and years, improving what we're eating and improving what I'm putting on the table, but not really seeing Bill care very much about it. So that was one of the first times that he literally called me out and said, I'd rather have a better option for this. And I'm going, oh my goodness. this is really good. Um, and he brought home an air purifier a few weeks ago. And at first, my first instinct was I was disappointed because I have been researching these for well over a year and trying to decide what one I wanted to get. Never even heard of the one that he brought home. And so my first thought was literally disappointment. Well, that's probably not the one I would have picked. But then I stopped myself and I realized, oh my word, Bill is caring about the quality of the air in our home and he wants to improve it. This is really, really good. And I got really excited. Um, Oh, and meat. He has really turned a corner on meat. It used to be any meat whatsoever, put it on his plate, and he was happy. But since we have been ordering our meat for the past, it's been 4 months, I think, since I got my first order. We've been ordering our meat from 99 counties. Now, we raise our own pigs, so we have all of our pork in our freezers, but we don't raise cattle. And I don't have access to really good meat close by from local ranchers. Um, I certainly, well, it's a whole lot, it's another story. In fact, I think I might do an episode about meat in general. So I won't get into what I was just going to say, but having it shipped to us from these amazing regenerative farms and it showing up on my doorstep in the ice in the box and taking it out and we have dinner for the next couple weeks and I just put it in the freezer and pull it out one by one when I'm ready. I have been loving that, but it has amazed me how much he has been loving it. If I do pick up something at the store, by the way, I'll tell you right now, I'm not a purist. I would love to say all of our meat is only from regenerative farms, but that's not the case. I do have to pick up things at the store sometimes. And, I'm okay with that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too, about really not being a purist and how it is better for us in the long run. It's healthier. There's less stress. So when I do pick up something though, that's not from 99 counties now, he knows it instantly and he's like, "Oh, where'd you get this? What cut is this?" And then he goes on and he eats it. He doesn't, that sounds like he's complaining. He really isn't complaining. He's always happy with a meat meal. But I find it very interesting that he definitely notices the difference and appreciates the difference of the really good meat. So have faith, ladies. Let things take its course. It's been a long time that I've been on this journey. I'm such a different person than I was just a few years ago. And I see it in Bill. I see him being a different person as well when it comes to these things. So it will take time, but have faith and stay the course. Um, okay, so I have 4 points today for you. And they're all about what we can keep doing right. So they're all a keep. First of all, keep it simple. So many times I think we ladies get really excited about the next thing, the next bandwagon that we're jumping on. You know what I mean, right? There's always a next thing when it comes to health and nutrition. And we want to go all in and gangbusters into it. I'm going to use an example of fresh flour. I bought quite a few different kinds of wheat berries, and I realized I had no freaking idea what to do with all these different wheat berries and how they were different. And I was using them in the wrong things. My results were horrible sometimes. I didn't understand the difference in the different kind of wheat berries, the different texture of flour they would give me, the slightly different taste they would give me. By the way, years later, I put a whole lot of information into Fresh Flour University all about that exact topic, the wheat berries, and knowing the wheat berries and understanding them and using them correctly. But aside from that, if you want to know about that, go to solelyrested.com/flour, FLOUR. But aside from that, the tip that I would give you is if you're starting with fresh flour, use the easy way, the way that is going to be most like what your husband or your kids are used to. You know what? I'm going to have to pause because I just realized everything up until now, I've just been talking about husbands. And of course, a lot of my listeners, I know you have kids at home too. And I think I decided intentionally to not make this episode about family, but to focus on husbands because there's a whole different dynamic there with kids, especially depending on their ages. Huge dynamic difference of if you're talking about a toddler versus a teenager. And then on top of that, if your husband is not on the same page that you are about the nutrients, there's a whole nother level of complexity there that I can't really get into right now. And um, I think it's might be worthy of future episodes. Let me know your thoughts on that or your questions on that. And I'm sure I could probably find someone who really is an expert on the idea of what if your kids aren't on the same page as you are with nutrition. Um, but yeah, for this episode, we're sticking with husband. And I think I don't always, I don't give an episode a title until I'm done recording, but I think I'm gonna call this one when he's team Cheetos and your team Kale. I'm not huge into kale. I am gonna mention it in a minute and how I use it, but and he's not huge into Cheetos, Bill, but I jotted that down as an inspiration, thinking, oh, I kind of like that for a title. But it might be when he says organic is overrated or healthy living without the ultimatums, because we're going to talk about you really can't give your husband an ultimatum. It's not going to be effective. Um, or maybe when you're reading labels and he's eating the Cheetos instead, or when wellness isn't a shared goal. Like those are the kind of things I've been thinking about that might be a title, but I think I'm going to go with the Team Cheetos, Team Kale idea. I want to pause for a second and ask you, have you thought about how this one thing that you probably use a good bit of is going to be impacted by tariffs? Have you thought about the tea that you drink? It turns out I was talking just recently to someone who works in the industry, and he told me that very morning, the price of tea from China to distributors here in the US had risen by 247%. Now, the company he works for actually had a nice amount of supply on hand, so it wasn't going to impact their prices immediately. But he guaranteed me their prices would have to double or triple before they started running out of their current supply. So, if you can find tea at a good price, it is absolutely the time to stock up. Tea will store for years if you keep it in a cool, dark place. And I've done that myself. It still tastes wonderful, but I wouldn't buy just any tea. I highly recommend our sponsor today. If you want to go to solelyrested.com/teas, TEAS, I share with you all of my favorite flavors and options that they have that are all organic, very high quality teas, but at an unbelievably good price, at least for now, before the tariffs hit them hard. So go stock up and use my code to save as you stock up. You can even stack my code on the bulk prices that they offer, which I highly recommend. Also at solelyrested.com/teas, I share with you some of my all-time favorite blends that I make myself, and I link to the teas that I use to make my blends. One of them is my family's all-time favorite replacement for Lipton tea. Zero bleached tea bags and zero pesticides on the leaves, but it tastes as good or better than the Lipton that my family would always drink before I started making this blend. That recipe, a lot of other ones, you'll find it all, and my code to save while you stock up. Go to solelyrested.com/teas, TEAS. And another sponsor that I need to tell you about is Hearth and Homestead Store. They have become a first line of defense, protecting my family's skin from toxic, man made, carcinogenic ingredients. You see, at Hearth and Homestead Store, they are committed to synthetic free ingredients and they are completely transparent with their ingredient list. But they even go a step further. They use the best of the best ingredients. And this is what I love, zero fillers. Did you know that a company can call it tallow balm, which, by the way, I know is all the rage now? You see it everywhere. But be careful because they can call it tallow balm and it have 20% tallow. And most of the time, it is industrial raised tallow and 80% filler. But with Hearth and Homestead, it is 100% grass fed and grass finished tallow. 100%. On top of that, they infuse it with herbs and natural elements like magnesium. Bill and I and my mother in law love the magnesium butter. It genuinely took away my mother in law's restless legs. and it is so great at soothing sore muscles. I love the face serum. I love so many of the soaps. I love the perfume. It's all natural. You know what? You just need to go see. Either go right to Hearth and Homestead store, or if you want to see my personal favorites, go to solelyrested.com/soap, SOAP, and be sure to use code SOLYRESTED to save 15% on your entire order, every order. And if you're spending over 100, the shipping is free. You can't beat it. Hearth and Homestead store. So, having said all that, obviously, this episode, we're focusing on you and your husband and when you have different views on nutrition. So, understand that he's not on the same page that you are. He just doesn't value what you're seeing as super important right now. But he really values taste and what he's used to, right? And the texture he's used to. That's important to him. So if you can find a nutritional substitute that is going to give a similar taste and texture that he's used to, then maybe you'll be able to slowly work in the better option and he be happy with it, right? So don't try all the different wheat berries and mess it up and give him very subliminal things. Not subliminal. That's not the word I meant. Very subpar things. Um, and expect him to be happy with it because he's not on the same page you are about nutrients. So why does he want to eat something that tastes like cardboard? He doesn't. We sometimes can be happy with cardboard if we know it's good for us, right? It's sad but true. But your muffins are basically never going to be as good as a Dunkin' Donuts donut to him. I mean, probably they just aren't. But keep making the donuts, keep tweaking them, and think about what he really, really likes taste wise and tweak your donuts to have those tastes and those icings or whatever it is on them. And don't whine if they don't get eaten. Just put them in the freezer and you can enjoy them if they're healthy options. And eventually, you will, if you keep at it and you're patient and stop pushing them on him, you will make a donut that he loves. It's going to happen. It might be a while. And it might be really important that you keep it fun. Like, for instance, we have a family recipe book that I found a pie recipe in it and I altered it with better sugar, and he loves it. I found in some of my dad's old scrapbooks from when he was in high school, I found a folded up piece of notebook paper that had a handwritten recipe for donuts. And that got Bill really excited. Like, this was written back in, 1945 probably. And look at this. What I wonder if it was like your grandmom's that wrote it, one of your grandma, if it was one of your grandmom's recipes. I'm going to get this right. Or, who wrote this out? And he was excited about the history behind it. So I tweaked that recipe and tried to make it a little more nutritional. And it was an exciting thing because of the stories behind those things, the pie and the donuts, right? Or I have made some crumble knockoff cookies. If you guys know crumble cookies, so good. And sometimes that's been a fail because, he knows what the crumble that he loves tastes like and he doesn't think mine tastes like it. But sometimes it's been a huge success. And I'll leave one of his favorite recipes in the show notes because it's so good and it's made with fresh flour. So it's much better for him and it doesn't have any of those preservatives and junky ingredients. It's just real food, right? So sometimes the knockoffs or redoing the favorite family recipes is going to be a really great solution for you. But sometimes, let's face it, if it's a family favorite and you can't get it quite tweaked the way you want it nutritionally, it really could be disappointing to him and the family. So give and take, understand that sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, and move on. And don't whine and don't be upset and don't throw down your fork because daggone it, I slaved for so long over this and nobody likes it. That's not going to help your case. Just admit, you know what? Yeah, this doesn't taste that great. I'm sorry. And I'll keep tweaking it. But, tomorrow we're going to have blank and make sure it's something that they really like, right? Okay, the second keep is keep the right attitude. And I was just saying this, don't nag. Um, and sometimes it's important, I think. I mean, this is a personal decision, but sometimes I think it's important to just eat the thing that you really normally wouldn't, but not be too much of a purist, not be too caught up in, oh, I would never take a bite of that. But, if he's eating the Dunkin' Donuts and he's like, wow, this is a really great donut. You want to try it? Maybe you could take a bite, maybe. And maybe it really wouldn't kill you, right? like, um, and like, there are certain things that he knows I'm never going to eat. He never offers me his bag of potato chips because he knows I'm not going to eat them, or his Cheetos, any of his salty snacks. He knows to just not even try because they're made with vegetable oil or canola oil, seed oils, and ingredients I can't pronounce. And I'm not really totally into salty things usually. I'm much more of a sweet kind of person. That's what really entices me. So he just knows, and he will never offer me his potato chips, and he will never offer me his Coke or his root beer or whatever the soda is, because I just don't do the sodas. Like, there are certain things totally off limits for me. And it's because I've shared before on here, I know I'm going to go down a road of, I want to eat chips every day now, or I'll sit down and eat the whole bag, or I'm going to be wanting to really have a Diet Coke tomorrow if I have one today. Not Diet Coke, Zero. Diet, I'm going to get this right. Coke Zero. I never liked Diet Coke. I very much like Coke Zero. So I have the healthy versions of things on hand that I can grab if I'm feeling that craving to have those when he's eating them. But anyway, um, as far as keeping the right attitude, understand that you really can't allow yourself to get lost on the health side of social media. All those accounts that you follow, I follow them too, that are giving you great health advice, alternative great recipes, whatever it is, encouragement, telling you about the latest in the news with the FDA or whatever. Like, keep in mind that all of those accounts on social media, they, first of all, they have to have clickbait to get your attention. And they have to have a selling point, and most likely they have something they are selling. And it's always going to get you riled up and excited and upset if you focus too much on all that stuff. There's just too much. It's like major overload. If you took all of those accounts and all the things that they were saying were the most important thing, and you tried to take it to heart, you would pretty much lose your mind, because it's just too much. And a human person is not meant to have all that information at their disposal with some swipes of their finger on their phone. It's just too much. So don't allow yourself to go down too many rabbit holes and get too caught up in what's really important and what you have to not eat and what you have to take out of your pantry and all of that. Try to keep the right attitude, stay calm, and focus on simple things one at a time. Trust me, it will be better for everybody, and you will serve your cause better. You will be able to win over your husband in certain areas over time if you keep the right attitude. But if you go gung ho crazy, it's not going to be effective. I might be saying that from a matter of personal knowledge on a few things, maybe. Third thing, keep on being sneaky. Okay, moms, we all know how to be sneaky, right? My kids to this day tell me, I don't know how you would sneak a present for me into the shopping cart and pay for it and me never see it. We have these talents as moms, right? We can do things that kids just never understand. Well, sneaking in healthy ingredients in our food is something we are pretty good at. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. First of all, kale powder that I mentioned. We grow our own kale. I dehydrate it, and then I turn it into a powder. And I use that powder all year long, almost every day. I put it in something. It has very little, almost no taste, which is crazy, right? Because kale has quite a taste. But when it has been dehydrated and turned into a powder, it has very little taste. And if you use the right amount of it, nobody's ever going to know it's there. It does have green color. So depending on what you're putting it in, they might see the color. If you're putting it in eggs, they will definitely see the green in the eggs, which Bill would then never eat because Green. Ooh. But if you put it in the right things, they never know. And it's so high in nutrients, such a good food. Um, Pluck is another thing. It's called Pluck, and it's on my pantry checklist. In fact, a lot of really great ingredients, we're going to be talking about a few more in a minute, are on my pantry checklist. So let me tell you how to get that. Solelyrested.com/pantry, PANTRY. And I will send you the download, and you can download it to your computer, or you can just keep the link, or whatever works best for you. It's loaded with links, and it is loaded with discount codes. I have a discount code for Pluck as well. Um, I, I'm trying to think. I think you can just go to pluck.com and use my code solely rested to get the savings. But if you use the link on the pantry checklist, it's all good. It's all there. Um, but what Pluck is, I should have told you at the beginning, is organ meat. It's actual organ meat that has been dehydrated and powdered, and then they have added healthy, really great real food seasoning. So it tastes like a seasoning. It does not taste like organ meat. It does not taste like you're putting liver on your hamburgers. It tastes like the best seasoning out there. It's so good. They make it with Redmond real salt too, which I love. And it's a great way to sneak in that extra protein and the extra really good nutrients in organ meat into almost anything you're making. Also, Primal Blend Burger. Highly recommend. 99 Counties has the best I've ever tasted. Go to solelyrested.com/beef, BEEF, to find out all about 99 Counties and how you can get some of their primal beef blend. It is so good. It tastes like the best burger you've ever had. You cannot tell. I don't know how they do it. It's magical. You can't tell that it has the organ meat in it, but it's so good. Talk about being sneaky. Nobody will know. And then salt, like I mentioned. I think I mentioned that it has 60 plus nutrients in Redmond real salt. It is so easy by just seasoning your food with salt to add nutrients. So good for you. And if you use code solely rested, you can save on every single purchase, whether you're getting the 25-pound bag that I get or just getting a sample or trying some of the seasoning. It's also good. Again, that's at solelyrested.com/salt. And fresh flour. You guys know I love talking about fresh flour. Huge advocate of fresh flour. And you're adding 40 out of the 44 essential nutrients to whatever it is you're making if you're using fresh flour. So good. No wonder Russell really wants a grain mill, right? I mean, who doesn't want a grain mill? Like, who doesn't want to add almost all the essential nutrients to everything you're making? Such a great way to do it. Great way to be sneaky, guys. There are definitely nuances to fresh flour. There are definitely things you want to know and understand to really be able to use it well and for your final product to be tasty. Once you know those tips, the sky's the limit. But if you want to check out Fresh Flour University, you can be truly an expert at adding these nutrients in no time flat, and your family will not even know the difference and love you for it. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Fresh flour does taste different. They will notice. They will know it's made with fresh flour, but it's going to be so good that they are going to be totally fine with that. And it tastes better. Once you get used to it, the taste is so much better because it's a richer flavor. Um, okay, last point is to keep the right ingredients on hand. And this is where my pantry checklist comes in handy. If you have the right ingredients on hand at all times, you are much more likely to be able to make a healthy, nutritious meal because you have what you need, right? A few things that you could switch out and no one know the difference, and it really make a difference in the nutritional value of what folks are eating in your home. One thing is organic cane sugar. If you are using anything lower than organic cane sugar, if you're using refined sugar in any way, shape, or form, that is one thing I would highly recommend you read some about, check into a little bit more. And maybe that right there could be a great starting point for you to switch over to organic cane sugar. The next step up, in my opinion, is to go with all natural sugar. And we did have an episode about this. I think it's worthy of a lot more episodes because there are so many sugars you can choose from. And I could tell you about why I choose what I do, why they're my favorites for different things. But coconut sugar would be the next step up. That's the best, in my opinion. And we use it for so much in this house. I use it for every single thing I bake. I use organic coconut sugar. Does not taste like coconut, by the way. It tastes more like brown sugar than white sugar. It is a little richer of a flavor, but it tastes like sugar. It's made from the nectar of the bloom on the coconut tree. So it doesn't taste like coconut at all. It does taste like sugar. But organic cane sugar is such a better option than refined because all refined sugar has been treated with glyphosate in the fields and then put into those bags and you're baking it into your foods. It's just not a good option, guys. It's that was one of the first things I changed in our house. Um, Bill's Lipton tea, I've talked about that. And you can find that recipe at soullyrested.com/teas, Teas. I use 2 different organic loose leaf teas. I combine them and I replace Lipton and he loves it. There's no organic, I mean, there's no bleached. It's all organic. There's no bleached tea bags. And the tea leaves are totally organic, no pesticides. Such a better option than the Lipton he was using. And he loves it. Tastes just like Lipton. Nutritional yeast is great to use to replace that dehydrated Parmesan cheese powder you buy at the store that shouldn't be called cheese. It's mainly sawdust. Nutritional yeast is a great option instead. You can air pop popcorn instead of using the microwave popcorn that has all those chemicals lining the bags that are then getting heated up and so not good for you. I could go on and on, but those are just a few things, some simple things. Decide what it is that your family eats a lot of that is a really poor choice and think about how you can replace it with an organic or more natural option. But it all comes back to your attitude, guys. And, we talk a lot about attitude on here because I struggle with having a negative attitude and a bad attitude. And I struggle with sometimes nagging Bill over stuff like this. Like, I can't believe you're eating that crap. I haven't said that to him in a long time, though, because I know it's not effective. And he knows what this podcast is about. He knows what I'm always reading about and writing about. And he gets it, but he's just not on the same page for now. And that's okay. Once in a while, I'll have a question. Once in a while, he'll come to me and he'll say, should I use this option or that option? And I'm all on board for helping, but that's it. I end it there. I don't do a lecture and I don't go on. um, so I think that's it. That's the 4 points. I hope that was encouraging. If you keep it simple, if you keep the right attitude, if you keep on being a little sneaky when it's appropriate, and you keep the right ingredients on hand, he's going to come around slowly but surely, at least in baby steps, in little ways. He will come to a point that there's some things you guys agree on. And in the meantime, don't be a purist and don't get too emotional or upset. And please don't let social media drive you insane. Do what you can do. Simple steps, one day at a time. You are making a difference just by every single small choice you make. You are making a difference. Be encouraged by that and just keep on keeping on and enjoy your food. And yeah, he's going to come around. I think so. Well, thanks for listening, friends. Remember, it is easy to forget how blessed we are to live this life, but enjoy the simple, everyday efforts. It's not easy, but it's a very good life.